Hello and welcome to Captain's Corner. I'm your captain for today. That's it. That's all I've got.
So every couple of years, the company I work for put together this thing called Fall Conference, where they get all of the franchisees together and they celebrate what's been going on and communicate what's coming and all that fun stuff. In 2018 and this year, they held that at the Niagara Falls View Casino. And the brilliant thing about it is that almost all of the rooms have a view of the falls. Some of them have a view of the American Falls more than the Canadian ones, some have the Canadian more than the American, and some have both. In 2018, when I came the first time, which was our 25th anniversary, they put me up in a really great room, really great falls view thing, and all I could think of the entire time was, oh my God, it would have been so awesome if Trudie had been able to come down, even though, she would have had to have kept herself busy. Well, Trudie doesn't have a problem doing that. So when the opportunity came this year to come down, it was like, hell yeah, this time Trudie's coming with me. So when we got back from Paris in January 2021, it was such a grueling thing, and the fact is, I've never enjoyed airline travel, and it's just become more and more grueling since, 9/11, additional time for security, additional time for boarding, and then with the pandemic issues and all that fun stuff. So basically, I started this year off not wanting to travel anymore, almost vowing that I wasn't going to be getting on any planes. And this will be my fourth flight this year. So for somebody who didn't want to be at an airport, I kind of blew that. So I'll have 5 trips under my belt before 2022 is over. And I hate all of it. Worse still is we're heading to Toronto for the first time since we moved. So we're going to be there as visitors. We're not going to be in our apartment. It's not going to be our place. Our stuff isn't going to be there, so not sure how I feel about that. Trudie's ready. How do you feel about the trip, Trude?
I haven't decided yet. I haven't had coffee.
Okay. It's Friday, September 23rd, 2022. Hi, how are you? I don't remember there being this much wind when I was back here. The wind I associate with, Edmonton. That's why one of the most listened to radio stations, it's called The Breeze. Maybe it's just because we're staying near the airport, and they tend to put those in windy areas. But holy crap, this has just been consistent wind, which when we got here and it was really, really hot was nice. It's like 7 feeling like 5 this morning. Wind is not so much nice at that temperature. So temperature itself, fine. Could do without the wind. You could put that on my tombstone. So yeah, I'm heading to work. Heading to the office for the first time since July 22nd. Heading to the office for the first time since I left. It's a building like this. It's not that. Mixed feelings about being here. When you're staying in a hotel, you don't feel like you're at home. So that's just the way that is. So even if Ontario felt like home, the act of being in a hotel is going to eliminate that. Oh good, more wind. But first, there's the office. And a plane. I'd also guess that that white car that you saw leaving was another one of the poor souls who made the mistake of getting off the road and coming into the parking lot because they thought the Starbucks was open. The Starbucks closed in the first month of the pandemic, so over 2 years now, and at no point did they bag or turn around the sign. So from the street it looks like a functioning Starbucks, and all they're doing on a regular basis is annoying their customers. So that's a funny one, I think. Starbucks. There's your customer service. We're not even going to take the sign down. We want people to come in here and realize they've just been ghosted. That's what that is. I'm just going to leave this running because it's easier to edit than... No, it isn't. What am I saying? Let's take a detour. Yeah, so here it is, the Phantom Starbucks location at Spectrum, which has had that up the entire time. Yeah, she's a closed. Why am I doing Borat? Oh, no, that's interesting. Oh, not secured. I point that out because our emergency lock is in there. It's a backup key system in the event that an employee comes here and they don't have the key card, or a remote employee comes here and they don't have their key card. They can contact 2 specific people, one of 2, and get the password that's current for accessing that. So yeah, July 22nd, August 22nd, and yesterday was September 22nd. It just occurred to me, it's been exactly 2 months. And I'll have to stop this when we get up there because, of course, branded element. Thou shalt not post on YouTube branded element. That is the prime directive. Yeah, that's what happened after I left. That's the state of the company. It's very juicy tonight. I'm wondering if that's something that normally soaks up on the drive home.
It's worth the walk.
So are you going to be able to finish that?
I think so.
Yeah, cool. Sign of how much you burned off today, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So where are we, Trude?
We're at our little parkette near the airport,
In Mississauga.
Mississauga,
Why are we there, Trude?
because triple O's.
Triple O's. Yeah. Thanks to William for making this possible.
Thank you, William.
What we've discovered is that wherever we travel, it's basically just an opportunity to eat food that we wouldn't be eating back home. Although it's not the case today, because this is one meal that we would be having on a Sunday. But we haven't found a parkette to have it in yet. So here we are at the Toronto airport eating triple O's. Yes, it was very kind of William to let us steal his car. Borrow it. But yeah, in one of the other comments I mentioned, I referenced the fact that this trip has kind of reinforced the idea that when we travel, a consistent part of it is that we seek out the food that we can't get when we're at home. And because home now is Edmonton, this week has been filled with trips to Marconi's Pizza and Chandra's Roadie, because there are no restaurants that serve roadie in Edmonton that we've found. We did find some frozen roadie at the old Strathcona Public Market that we bought but have yet to thaw out and try. So we'll see about that. But also the basic tonality of food in Edmonton is, I think, because it's not as diverse as Toronto, not as spicy, not as pungent, not as strong tasting, a little, not going to say on the bland side, because the interesting thing is that once you take out all the spices and the pungent things and all of that, you taste the freshness of the food. So the food out there definitely tastes fresher than it does here. But, you know, we miss jerk chicken roadie and the Marconi Special Deluxe with hot banana peppers and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, we stopped at the sausage place in front of the Clarkson Canadian Tire, because the hot Italian there is just, it's a hot Italian sausage. It's fantastic. So, you know, the traveling is more of a culinary thing, even though we're in Toronto, where, you know, it's like, what are our favorite things here? And if history is any teacher, as the years pass, more and more of these places will disappear, because, you know, you think about all the restaurants that aren't around now, you know, that or the ones that are around that don't make what you grew to love, you know, like French Corner Pastry, for example, had a chocolate cherry croissant that they did. Oh my God, it was delicious. It was like crack or whatever. And then, you know, I guess they weren't able to make it in the batches or sell it in the batches that they needed to do, and so they just stopped making it. Now they got a different guy working their baguettes and stuff. So, you know, the even in the restaurants and the places that haven't gone out of business, aspects of it have changed. And we, you know, we used to go for breakfast at Maresh, or previous to that, Annie Alba's, you know, and these are all places that aren't there anymore. You know, we're eating roadie at Chandra's because Barb's Roadie hasn't operated in years, and we had to find another roadie place. So, you know, it's not like this isn't going to change. I mean, we keep coming back here. There eventually is going to come a time when, who knows, maybe Marconi's will go, or sausage in front of the Canadian Tire in Clarkson won't be there anymore. It'll be somebody else, and it won't be as good. So, who knows? So, but it's funny, because it's also one of the things we tend to do when we go to Paris. We're seeking out, you know, food So a consistent thing for us in traveling seems to be the food experience. When we left here 2 months ago, would not have expected that when we came back, it would be to eat. So that was a bit of a shock. You would say that was a surprise too as well, wouldn't you? Yeah. But not an unpleasant surprise. But yeah, there are things back here we can't get when we're out there. What we ate for lunch today, not one of them, because they have triple O's. They have a triple O's in Edmonton. But well, we haven't been to the second one, and the second triple O's is a food court triple O's in their downtown hospital. The day I step into a hospital to eat, yeah. Although if I ever, need medical care, I think we should probably have some sort of, is this something that Royal Alexandra can handle? Because he would like to be at the Royal Alexandra. And then, I can send people down to get me triple O's. Unless there's a dietary restriction, in which case I'll have to sneak out on my own. So yesterday, one of the other things we were able to do, again, because William was gracious enough to let us borrow a vehicle, is we were able to get out to Hamilton to visit Ralphie, which was good to see. We didn't have a chance to do that before we left, so that was nice to be able to tick off. And just before doing this, we went to Gotham Central, which, quite frankly, is not a place I should be going into. I haven't set foot in a comic shop in Edmonton, even though we know where like 7 of them are, because frankly, I haven't unpacked all the stuff that I brought out with me. But there was a 400th anniversary issue of a comic that I'd been collecting, so those tend to have better stories in them, and then you just skip the month-to-month ones, right? That's how it works, right? Okay, that's what we're gonna go with. Anyway, Trude's finished. Yep. So we're gonna wrap it up and leave here, and whether there's more this week, I don't know. We'll see. Still have to go to Niagara Falls. Woo! Can we get a woo-woo?
Woo!
Woo. Oh, it's just more excitement there. Okay. The Nabisco Water Tower is still up.
Oh, is it? Oh, there it is, yeah. Wow.
Yep. That's how you learn. When you think about the number of times that we've been in certain Paris metro stations and still blown it. At least the excuse here is to keep changing this thing around. But yeah, I mean, if you don't see that sign at the back there pointing up this hall with the MeWe symbol, then there ain't no way you're gonna get there. Well, it's the same but different. Well, why is it the same but different? Well, first of all, it's September and I don't belong here anymore. And yet, because I left my bat mug, it's the same. And of course, I have what's going to count as my lunch in my spot. It's the same. However, I don't have a car, so I'm not parked in my spot. So it's different. Same but different. Yeah, so it's Monday, September 26th, and I'm back in the old office. And I frankly don't know how I feel about that. I was worried that I was going to come back here and it was going to feel like I should be here, but it doesn't. It's familiar, but it doesn't feel like I should be here. But I am here. Okay, it's familiar, same but different. So it's weird in that regard. Like we come back to Mississauga, and let's go all the way down. Oh, by the way, this shot is a recreation of one you'll never see because it's for a music video that I was immediately stopped from posting because of rights issues. All by myself, believe it or not. Try and post something with all by myself, and you're going to run into rights issues. So anyway, from here, and I kid you not, we lived by the Absolute building. So one of these short little brown buildings that's barely place sticking out of the trees there was where we lived. That was our home. Or maybe possibly that one. I don't know. But either way, it's not our home now. It's not our home now. It doesn't feel like it's our home now. We haven't gone to the area because why bother? We had a car on the weekend. It's not our home now. So yeah. And particularly over the weekend, in those moments where there wasn't a whole lot to do in the hotel room, it just felt like I wish we were home. I can't wait to get back. And I'm not attached to it yet. It's just where my stuff is, where I feel comfortable, it's where I have more control over what I do. If I want to go out, if I want to drive somewhere, whatever. It's where I belong. Oh. Just occurred to me that would have been an extreme close-up. Yeah, so like we didn't go to the old neighborhood. We didn't drive around the old neighborhood because it's not where we belong. I think in a very real sense, we've already detached in that regard. Just as we got at them Port Credit, just as they were really starting to ruin it. Well, they'd already ruined it, but you know, it was getting too congested, too crowded, too busy on the weekends, too many festivals, too much. We kind of feel as though we got at a Mississauga at the same point. And on the weekend, a friend loaned me his vehicle, but it wasn't my vehicle. So yeah, I was a little nervous driving it because, you know, if it had gotten into any sort of anything, then it would have been a massive hassle for him, and he didn't deserve that kind of thing. Whereas if it's just my vehicle, it's just a hassle. My stuff is at home. My ability to just pick up and drop something and go on to something else, and I feel like doing this today and doing that, or just even for that matter, playing a game on the computer or editing or whatever. That's home. And even though I don't feel like I belong in Edmonton, I don't feel like I belong. I've already detached from Mississauga, and I do feel like I belong in my house because that's where my stuff is. So in that regard, I really can't wait to get home. Now the flip side of the coin is where I work at home still doesn't feel like my workspace, and in that regard, it is going to be nice to just be here and be able to go down that hall and use that copier and actually get work done. Things that I know have been piling up that need to be done, and I can get them done today because I'm here, and that's good. So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. Same but different. Okay, I don't miss the walk. This is funny though, because look, as soon as I come here, it'll turn on. Yeah, it has a sensor, motion sensor. I don't miss the Cylon either, although it's handy while I'm here. This is the Cylon. And I call it that because these lights start blinking when it runs out of staples. And, you know, the overall shape of the head. That's a Cylon. I saw Battlestar Galactica, both of them. For some reason when I made that comment, and maybe it's because there's that Good Foods ad that mocks Bob Ross. It occurred to me that it might be funny if there had been a Bob Ross in the office, you know, showing how to photocopy and stuff. Oh, I'm just going to put a little stapler here. Cute little stapler. You know, that kind of thing. So I'm just leaving work Monday, 4 p.m.-ish at the office. This is selfie mode, and this is not selfie mode. So the question is, what looks better? This or this? Well, I'm probably looking at the camera lens this way, whereas I wasn't so much that way. Or maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, little spritzing. I don't think we're going to Mary Brown's. I haven't been able to get a hold of Trudie. Surprise, surprise. The cell phone is a wasted device for her as far as getting a hold of her. Not so much a wasted device for her getting a hold of anybody else, which, let's face it, that's kind of the more important part. But it can be sometimes frustrating when you're trying to get a hold of somebody to coordinate with them. They're not responding to texts, they don't answer their phone, might not even have brought it, or they've lost it, or the batteries have died, or they've been run over by a Mack truck, or you don't know. You just don't know. You just have to assume, like we did all through the 90s, it's fine, it's fine. I'll find out soon enough. I mean, the hotel's like right there, so I'll be there soon. Is it evident that I have nothing to say? Is it that obvious? Pretty sure we're not supposed to be up here, but I'm gonna cut 20 whole steps going this way, and I get to do it for the first time. Yay! I might not cut anything. It looks like it banks to the left once I get there anyway. Oh well, my bad. Did I do that? Never understood why they didn't just make this a sidewalk or whatever. Access for the electrical. There's the sidewalk. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna grab a pop when I get there. I'm just gonna go into the Petro-Canada and get some snacks. Feel like it. Subway's new subtle way of getting your attention. Subway, eat flesh. Jaywalking from one city to the next, yeah. That's right. Mississauga side, Toronto side. I just crossed over. Mississauga side, Toronto side. Mississauga side, Toronto side. So tomorrow morning, bright and early, co-workers picking us up. We're heading to Niagara Falls for 2 nights. And we won't be back here until Friday. Is that too close? Is that too close? I'm gonna guess that's the bowling alley. There are a lot of people here now. I had to stop for a minute to figure out what a new pad exam was.
Is that even legal to drive it like this?
Well, it's got the lights.
Yes, I guess so.
It's got the plate.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so weird.
It's just that it's a caravan of them. That's the thing I wouldn't have expected. Like if they're testing them out, you'd think they'd just be on side roads or something.
What it is, it's so expensive to transport that they like, we're just gonna drive it ourselves.
Check that out. The banquet section of the Falls View Casino is actually the old Ontario Power Company building. Walk away when you're Just before we leave the room, Trudie's going to show you what her favorite part of this part of the trip has been. Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah. Now, if she wasn't so heavily laden, she would be standing on top of that ledge. I will insert the photo. Okay. And so for the last couple of days, she has been having a little mini Niagara break, and more importantly, she's been able to enjoy the view from the Falls View room. And right now, as we're waiting to head back to Toronto, she's sitting under the centerpiece fountain at the Niagara Falls View Casino, trying to connect to the internet so she can post some stuff for herself. And I'm just killing some time as our ride comes down and thought, well, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to shoot something for the kind of vlog thing. But to be in line with the vlog. Basically, I've got to cover how this interrelates to our move, right? I mean, that's been the thread of all this. This week plus has been our first time back in Ontario since we moved to Alberta. And, you know, it's best captured by that phrase, same but different, because, you know, we know where everything is, we know how to get around, but we don't live here, we don't have our stuff here, we don't have a place that is ours here, so we've been rather transient, if you will, almost homeless, even though we've been in hotels. We don't have our car, so we've been dependent on public transit or loaners. That means we're also not always on our time schedule, and of course I've also had to work while I've been here, so it's not really a vacation, except for this one. It's a vacation for you, right?
Yes,
And you've had a good time.
very good.
There we go. None of that was scripted, and it wasn't forced. Completely spontaneous reaction. Yay! So, like, it would be entirely possible if our experience out west has been a negative one, that there would be a wistfulness, there would be sadness, sentimentality, you know, whatever those emotions are, and that hasn't been the case. Like, I don't like traveling. The first trip we took to Paris during COVID was brilliant. It was the best vacation ever. The second one was during the Omicron spike, and oh my God, if they really had wanted to discourage travel, what the government of Canada should have done is put out a series of ads about what hurdles you were going to have to face in doing it. I mean, it was like The Amazing Race, where every single step had a detour. It was just ridiculous. And getting stuck in Paris for an extra day, that sounds marvelous until you realize we were stuck at the airport in Paris, which, while it still has better baguette than anything in Ontario, is an airport. So all of that is part of the reason why I just simply don't like traveling. I really don't. I've come to the point where I dread going anywhere near an airport. This is only mitigated by the fact that the Edmonton airport is small and manageable, and at no point during the year 2022 have we had any negative experiences with it. I have to admit, our worst experience at Pearson was coming back from Paris, going to Paris. So as far as travel's been concerned in 2022, we haven't experienced what's been making all the news. I mean, yeah, things have been a little delayed. Things are always a little delayed. Like, get over yourself. You listen to the recommendations to get there early, and you get there early, and that's it. So, big friggin' deal. It's going to take time. I'm sorry that the magic box that flies through the sky and gets you places in hours instead of weeks and months like it used to be isn't working as quickly as you'd like. So it's that kind of thing. But it's still, I just don't like it. I don't want to do it anymore. So when they suggested coming back, my immediate feeling was dread. Don't want to do that. Had enough travel. Kind of tired of it. Even the 4-day drive out was exhausting. And of course the packing before and all of that stuff. I just want to recover. I feel like I need to recover. And I haven't really had that chance. So having said all that, it was good to come back because it reinforced a lot of the fact that we made the right decision. And I spent a lot of this week wishing I was home. Even though, you know, the beds we've been in have been nice, the hotels we've been in have been nice, the Trudie's been able to go out and do a lot of really cool things, and that's been good because I haven't had to worry about her at all. And let's not kid ourselves. This place is gorgeous and amazing opportunities. Probably the cheapest vacation we'll ever take because all we're basically paying for is, you know, Trudie's airfare and the food she ate. Everything else is covered because I'm here on business. So in that regard, it was a good trip. And from the perspective of having moved, you know, we're here today. We fly out tomorrow to head back, and I'm looking forward to getting home. That makes it a good thing as well. So this is gonna be fun to edit down. They always are, and I'm sure that background music is gonna keep it from being monetized. Well, I don't monetize anyway. I mean, what, I got something like 25 viewers. Hi, Barb. Hi, Rick. You know, I guess the other good thing about this trip is we got a whole lot of video to do, and it looks like there's going to have to be 2 Trudie segments. One Trudie's Edmonton, and the other one Trudie's Fall Vacation Ontario Excursion Niagara Edition. So there we go with that. Listen, if you're in Ontario or you're ever coming to Niagara, at the very least, walk in to the Niagara Falls View Casino and walk around the Galleria. Even if you don't go into the casino itself, even if you don't stay at the hotel, this is a pretty cool place. And it's got, you know, you go right out and you've got a decent platform. It's not the best view of the falls, but it's a nice little park back there. And the area where we had our function, our fall conference, is in the historic Ontario Power Generation building. And you don't know that unless you're on the outside. It all looks new and fancy and everything, but it's actually built onto the facade at least. Although I have to admit, I think the hall as well that we were in was the original stuff. But yeah, it's definitely, if you're going to come to Niagara, this is definitely worth walking through. I think I probably made everybody completely nauseous going round and round and round.
But yeah, it was still interesting.
So Graham Norat's going to do a Niagara segment.
Okay, cool.
Depends on which direction we're facing. Thank God the buses that pass our house aren't that noisy. So William, this one's for you because look, you have to put the key card in to get the power on. Then it's this mostly concrete room with sauna style bath, a full length mirror that's also your closet. Noted by that. Funky command chair, long concrete bed frame, comes with a drawer, little cabinets put into stuff. You can see into the shower. That's not exactly the greatest thing in my opinion. And then of course, behind the headboard, a cubby for putting stuff. So, the alt. Oh yeah, already casting capable. Not much lumbar support to it though, or traction. Oh dear. Here it comes.